G'day and welcome along to the last of the podcasts about supply. And today what we're going to finish off is by looking at changes to supply. Now, just as with demand, we're going to concentrate on two different types. One where there's a change in price and one with the change in a factor other than the price, or what we call a non-price factor. And as you can see from the notes here, the same thing. If there's a change in the price, we move along the curve, and if there's a non-price factor, we shift the entire curve. So if we draw a supply curve and we put a market price on there, and we're going to keep it really simple, we're going to just make it P1, and the resulting quantity is Q1. Now if the price, this time we're going to make, the price, let's say the price goes up. Now as the price goes up, firms are willing to supply those extra goods because the price now matches their extra cost of marginal cost of production. So quantity demanded is going to rise from Q1 to Q2 because the price has risen from P1 to P2. So we get a movement along the curve. And of course if the price went down, we'd then get a shift down along the curve. Now if there's a factor other than price, just like demand, a non-price factor results in a shift of the curve because price has not changed, so we can't show it as a shift along the curve. We must actually move the whole supply curve because firms are now willing to supply more or less at every price. So let's do an example. We've got price equals 1, price 1, Q1, and let's say firms' cost of production, they've got better technology, so their costs of production have gone down. So because their marginal cost of production are lower, therefore to produce that same amount of good, their marginal costs are going to be lower. So we're going to show their marginal cost as having shifting to the right, or in actual fact you could actually argue that it's actually gone down. We just typically say that the supply curve has shifted to the right if there is an increase in supply. So this firm is now willing to supply more output at the same price. Now there are three main types of factors that can shift the supply curve, and those are costs of production. So the firm's costs of production change, that will affect the supply. So if costs go down, supply will rise. If cost goes up, supply will decrease. Another one is technology, because technology changes the productivity and therefore the cost of production. And the other one, which is a little bit hard to understand, is the price of related goods. And what that is, a related good is a good or service that you can make using the same resources. So a good example is related goods are cars and motorbikes, because if I'm a company like Suzuki, I can use my factories and my raw materials and staff to produce either cars or motorbikes. So if the price of cars were to go up, I would actually stop making motorbikes or reduce my output of motorbikes and produce more cars, because now my profit at cars is higher. Therefore, compared to cars, motorbikes are less profitable. Now just one last thought. That actually links back to the whole idea of economic cost, because remember, the economic costs include the opportunity cost. And so if the price of related goods gone up, therefore the opportunity cost of the good that we're talking about has also gone up, which means if costs have gone up, firms supply less. Now look, if you don't get that part, don't get too worried. All you really need to remember is these three things: cost of production, technology, and the price of related goods.